fire, or EMS?
Regional with the transfer.
Go ahead. Caller, this is Dallas 911. Dennis, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
I don't know what I need, ma'am. I'm just collecting a video diary, hoping that one day I'll have rights and things change, ma'am.
Okay, you don't need police, fire, or EMS?
Well, what is happening is there's a lot of very big crimes going on, and I keep reporting crimes to the law enforcement, and they're enticing people to be a part of criminal activity and harassment. I've been deprived of my constitutional rights for both children as a parent. My son was hit with a car. I've been ran off roads. Guns been pulled on me. Multiple different assaults. Police entice people to be a part of abuse and cover for over 100 and something reports. I have identity theft, all kinds of crimes going on that the police department and the government is part of. And I've been sitting, living in this nightmare for years, and with being deprived of the right to law enforcement.
No, I understand. All right, do you have any situation that's going on now? Are you wanting to speak to an officer?
What's your name?
My name is Dennis. I need to figure out what you need.
Okay, so you have to figure out what I need. Have you had anyone,
Yes,
have you ever talked to anyone that was deprived of law enforcement for such events? In your time?
I mean,
have you ever, as an operator? I'm asking a question because you're not aware of how to help. Have you ever talked?
Ma'am, do you need police, fire, EMS?
Ma'am, are you covering for crimes, ma'am? Okay, you're asking if you can help. I don't know why you would disregard my experience, ma'am, and this is 911. So you're a 911 operator. Have you ever heard of anyone with a report such as mine?
We have a lot of reports, but in this case, we need to know if you need police, fire,
Okay,
EMS
so let me make
now.
sure I understand. How long have you worked there, if you don't mind me asking?
Ma'am, I'm not required to give that out to you.
Okay, fine. So you have had multiple other parties that were deprived of law enforcement?
I cannot record that information with you.
Okay, so you don't want me to know if you've had other parties claim to have been deprived of law enforcement?
We can't talk about any of the reports that we get.
Is it that you can't talk about it, or are you covering for it?
We just send in the calls. Do you need the need for police, fire, or EMS at this time?
Well, I just don't know how. I just don't want to continue to live my life with it having to be deprived of law enforcement at the FBI, at the Texas Rangers, calling counterfeit scammers, conning me out of money, Attorney General, Human Resources, Health and Human Resources.
I can give you the number for the substation so you can speak to responding officers.
I mean, the officers are covering for the crimes, ma'am. I'm collecting a video diary of all the attempts that I've made to fight for my life and how it's failed. And how you multitude of parties are covering and enforcing.
Currently, right now, we have other emergencies that we need to get to.
You don't think that's an emergency?
At this time.
You don't think that's an emergency? Some people hacking my phone, keeping me in abuse.
We need to go ahead and answer out to them. But
let's speak with the supervisor because I don't. We need to speak with the supervisor because I've tried to report that 911 operators covered for crimes and hung up in my face. So let's get with the con artist supervisor you have. It's sick.
Yes, ma'am. Can I get your name?
It's Kiana. That's how they do it. You would have to see it to believe that they could have scammers on the line. No one would ever believe it, so they get away with it. But this is how identity theft is on the rise because people don't know that it's a capability to simulate calls. So all they have to do is get someone elderly and older that not aware that they're speaking with con artists and counterfeits, and they get away with it. But it was obvious. I knew calling all over the United States, all these people should not be covering up for the crimes. They were making it completely obvious at first. Who would believe it? So they can torture me. It was fun. What would one do? Can you imagine how it feels to be me? Can you imagine having to call 911? They cover for crimes. Going to church, they cover for crimes. CPS cover for crimes. The police department covers for crimes. Imagine that you are terrified for your life, getting threatened. I felt that I would get murdered at any point, and there was no one on the planet I could tell it to. Not even people that I loved. For the life of me, as a human being, I don't have the capacity a multitude of people have, and ignore this. Yes, I'm here.
Ma'am?
I'm here.
Go ahead. This message right now. Hi, this is Megan. How can I help you?
Are you a supervisor?
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
Okay, well, your name's Megan and you're a supervisor. Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
Okay, so I've made multiple different reports of 911 operators hanging up in my face. Isn't that criminal for 911 operators to intercept emergency calls?
I mean, nobody should be disconnected on you, no, ma'am.
Well, they have disconnected a multitude of times, and I reported it to 2 supervisors, and they've covered for crimes, hung up in my face during emergencies, and refused dispatch out. And when they did, they used to send out corrupt police that arrested me and detained me out of malice. Now they are concocting, for cover up for these parties to send out criminals that will enforce corruption and cover for crimes. So I'm trying to figure out if this is really 911. How do I keep getting routed to 911 operators that cover for crimes and disregard me and keep me in jeopardy? If I can figure that out, I can figure out why I've called all over the United States and my I'm getting services denied, and there's cover up all over the United States. I'm trying to figure out if these calls are counterfeit, because I don't understand why 911 operators would cover for crimes.
Right. I mean, no 911 operator should be covering for crimes.
A multitude
is there
have
going on right now that I can send police to you for?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not quite sure where to go because I'm targeted and I'm denied law enforcement all over the United States. Well, all the places that I've called. I wrote a lot of letters and I'm denied law enforcement. So a multitude of locations I'm deprived of law enforcement. I haven't really been out of Texas. I've been ventured out to Texarkana, Arkansas, but I haven't in Louisiana also deprived of law enforcement. But I'm trying to get to the bottom of why I'm deprived of law enforcement and how we can combat the government depriving me of law enforcement, even the FBI. What do I do? Because calling the police has not been productive as a supervisor. I went to the Texas Rangers and was arrested for cover-up to keep me from reporting child abuse and my abuse to someone at the Texas Rangers. And they're depriving me of law enforcement after I was arrested. I went to the marshals and was arrested there. And tried to report criminal activity.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can direct you to internal affairs if you want to lodge a complaint against the operators that have been hanging up on you. As far as, I mean, this is 911. This is a 911 call center for Dallas Police. So if you call 911 and you need police, we will send you police.
Okay. So is there a procedure if police are committing crimes? You don't have a special procedure if there's someone in the government? Because obviously it would be a different protocol if the government is committing crimes. So you don't normally call the police out to enforce, to report crimes that the police are committing. So there's no different protocol if you are someone witnesses a police officer committing a crime?
I mean, if you're witnessing police officers, I would advise you to go to internal affairs and report those officers.
We're deflecting, ma'am. We're deflecting once again as your responsibility as a supervisor of the 911 call center. If you hear a report of the supervisors, police committing crimes and government officials committing crimes, is there a different procedure? What is your responsibility? If you hear about a threat to national security when there's no police can't abide by the law, what is your responsibility as a supervisor for a 911 call system?
I am sending police out to the person that is saying that they are witnessing this because they're the person that's going to be the report. I'm hearing it via somebody else.
Okay, so I'm wanting to know your responsibility so you don't report it to the FBI that law enforcement is being deprived for a citizen. If a police is murdering someone, you call out the police to enforce that the police abide by the law? Is that the procedure?
If you're seeing this happening through police, I would advise you to contact internal affairs and let internal affairs investigate.
Ma'am, I'm not sure if this is authentic call, and I'm not sure for years. What is your responsibility as a supervisor? If you hear a report of a police committing a crime, if someone calls you and say, look, because we're getting to that point, if someone calls you and says, look, there's a police murdering someone, so do you tell them to go to internal affairs?
If it's actively going on, I put in a call for police.
Okay, that was a long time coming. So if some police is murdering someone, you put in a call to dispatch out other police.
Yes, if a crime is occurring, and regardless if it involves an officer or not, I mean, everybody's subject to the law. So if that is occurring,
no, ma'am, no, ma'am, because the law enforcement is being deprived for some really amazing situations. I have been assaulted by police out of corruption. No, ma'am. Not some people don't have to abide by the law. I haven't been for years. I've experienced extreme events. I have never heard of the government being so corrupt to break into a citizen's phone to enforce their criminal activity. I have never heard of such events. I have never heard of CPS not able to get their story straight and depriving a parent of their parental rights and won't even let them appear at a multitude of court dates. I have never heard anything like the chaos I have experienced. To where they are so sick, they have 911 operators hang up in that party's face when they are terrified for their life to enforce criminal activity. I don't think anyone has heard of such chaos, which is why I'm calling 911 to report it. I'm tired of it. When will it end? I have been begging for my life a long time to get ignored. Where can I go, ma'am?
So I can send police to you?
Police are the ones that assaulted me, ma'am. They're the ones that arrested me at the domestic violence support group and at the Texas Rangers, and I was handcuffed at the FBI trying to report the abuse. So what? It's not working, ma'am. First, I need to get people to abide by the law. It's criminal for my cell phone provider to let the government hack my phone and force me to talk to counterfeits that cover for criminal activity. And a multitude of parties pretend like it's not going on. I'm paying for the phone bill, this phone bill, to get deprived out of services. That's a crime. I would sue a multitude of people, but I can't get an attorney. You have to see it to believe it. So I just have to sit and marinate and knowing I cannot get law enforcement for such extreme events occurring. I cannot see my child, and I'm very, 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 very unhappy about it. I have done everything possible to have access to my child, going to church, going to the Texas Rangers, FBI, getting violated and crimes covered for their family courts. I cannot find integrity anywhere, ma'am. Does that scare you?
Okay, ma'am, how would you like me to assist you?
I mean, you're not hanging up. I mean, that's why I recorded. At least they stopped hanging up. And then the police would come out anyway in schemes and detain me to cover up for the crimes and punish me.
So
at least that stopped.
How would you like me to assist you today, ma'am?
I'd like for people to...
multiple avenues. What else do you need from me today?
I need for someone to get down to the bottom of these calls. And why my credit card company covered for credit card fraud.
Okay. Well,
and why 170-something reports are missing at the police department.
That's above me, ma'am. That's something above me. I can't get to the bottom of that.
Well, I just want enough evidence, ma'am. I feel like this is an emergency when the government can't abide by the law. So I can't call 911 on the government for committing crimes. I can't do that. It's not possible.
Do you want me to send police to you? Because 911 is to put in calls for police. I can send an officer to you.
But the police are the government's committing the crimes, ma'am.
That is all I can do. I'm not an investigator.
Okay, so I'm trying to... What, ma'am? I just need help, ma'am. So you mean to tell me in 2022, if you have to call 911 on the government, it's no possibility to get resolutions or get someone that is other than the police to try to get the government under control?
So the only thing 911 is a call for police.
So can we escalate to another avenue to get law enforcement since so many parties have deprived me of it? You can't be a witness and pull the call history and see how these operators have treated me?
You got to make that complaint.
Listen, ma'am. Look at my YouTube channel. Look at my YouTube channel. It's KEY. Okay. Ma'am. KEY. Ma'am, wait a minute. My YouTube channel is KEYANA okay. Clark, CLARK, Peace, PEACE. Ma'am. Okay. Ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with? Because I'm giving you multiple avenues, and
multiple avenues. You just told me to go to internal affairs, and you could dispatch out of police.
Yes, that's how I can assist you.
Bye, ma'am. This has been going on years.
Bye-bye. You have a great...
I don't know how. I wish I could just pretend. I just, not let it affect me.
And dial 911.
I don't know how. I don't.
If you know your
maybe if I read the right thing, or if I see the right thing, or what am I doing wrong to let this bother me to the degree that it bothers me? I just don't understand.
Otherwise,
is that a bad thing to understand this?
If you are a sworn law enforcement officer,
I just gotta understand why churches get ignored in so many parties, and I don't.
If you would like to register a complaint, please press 2. If you would like to...
I was in such an extreme amount of terror.
Hello. Thank you for calling the
living in this
FBI.
nightmare.
This is not a 911
It
service
may
for
not look
taking
like
emergency
it.
calls.
I felt
For
like I can have a
emergencies,
heart
please call
attack at any
911.
moment and die.
Si usted
I
desea
had
escuchar
to
este
pray and
mensaje
say,
en español,
Lord, help
por
me
favor,
get through
oprima
this
el número
second.
uno.
I can't breathe. I am so
In a few moments, you will
terrified.
be
I couldn't
connected to an
speak. I
operator.
couldn't
This
function.
call is recorded for quality assurance.
It was
investigation, or
deliberate
other
to
purposes.
torture.
If you do not wish
To
to be
and
recorded,
threatening
please press
someone
1
3
to
or
learn
4
how to
times a
submit
day
online. After the
violently.
instructions are provided,
Not
your
to
call will be
mention the
disconnected.
chaos catching the bus. And the chaos with wherever I stayed. The things in between.
Some states have passed red flag laws that restrict individuals from having firearms based on the belief they are a danger to themselves or others. Your local law enforcement agency may have more information on these laws.
FBI, can I get your first and last name, please?
Yes, I have a question.
So, ma'am, before we get to the nature of the call,
Sir, I would like to know if you would
Can I
deprive
get
me
your-
of a complaint, or do you deprive anyone of complaints? And if you do
So,
deprive
ma'am,
someone of a complaint, is that tampering with
Before we get to the
evidence?
nature of the call, I am required to ask these
Are you
questions.
sure this is
You
the
don't have to
FBI?
answer these
Because this
questions,
says if you're
but
covering
I
for
am
crimes
still required-
immediately.
Ma'am, please let me speak. So, I understand, and we will get to the nature of the call. However, I am required to ask these questions first.
Well, see,
You do not
sir,
have
when
to
I
answer
give
them.
people
However,
parties,
I
they're
am
committing
required
crimes and but
to ask
scammers.
them, ma'am.
They're,
So,
sir,
ma'am,
I want to
like
get.
I said, we can get to the nature of the call, but I'm still required to ask these questions. You do not have to answer them. I am still required to ask. Would you like to
Okay,
provide your
well,
first and
I
last
did
name?
call, and it's kind of rude that you won't let me speak and get clarity.
Okay, ma'am. Would you like to provide your first and last name?
I have questions on what I called.
Okay, ma'am. Like I said, before we get to the nature of the call, I am
That doesn't
required
make
to ask
sense,
these
sir, because if I
questions.
give you all this information and it's the wrong department, that doesn't make sense, sir. So it's
So,
like you're
ma'am,
committing
like
crimes
I
right
said,
now,
I am
ma'am,
required to
sir.
ask you if you, ma'am,
Hacking a
if
phone
you
network is a
cooperate,
crime,
I will
sir.
terminate the call. Ma'am, would
Are you
like
trying to
provide
take
your first
control of
and
the
last
call
name
by
at this
threatening to
time?
terminate the call to enforce your criminal activity?
All right,
First,
ma'am. I'm terminating the call for non-cooperation. Thank you for calling the FBI.
forced to speak with scammers, what they want to do is get my name, and then they can say, don't call the FBI again. But I'm trying to purposely expose that I'm speaking with counterfeits. How are you going to deprive me of knowing what I called? They don't want me to know because they want to say, we told you not to call the FBI. I want to communicate that if you're telling me not to call the FBI to commit crimes, aren't you tampering with evidence? If you're depriving me of my right to do a report, wouldn't that be criminal? But they don't want me to get that across because they want to commit these crimes and say, we told you not to call the FBI, which is clear-cut tampering with evidence.
Dallas Field Office of the FBI. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911.
Her name's Michaela,
You can provide
and she was 8 when she witnessed a police arresting her mom for profit. Before she witnessed that, the school was mistreating her, allowed her to wet herself, and schemed to hurt her as well as myself to try to control her. When they got caught in the criminal activity, their reports disappeared because it showed that it was a conspiracy. The police, the CPS worker, multiple parties, so they all evaporated. She has a name.
To report telemarketing,
she's really funny.
Zip code of the area you are calling from now.
She used to be really confident and very stylish, but now she's insecure.
Your call will now be recorded.
But I can kind of understand. I had confidence, and this experience will do,
your expected
reduce
wait time is
anyone's
less than
confidence.
40 minutes.
I mean, how many times can you see people disregard you?
After
And then
instructions are
not to
provided, your
affect
call
you,
will be disconnected.
especially when they do it on purpose. Can you imagine the person that you know that love, you laugh with, played with, and then when you have a meltdown with stepmom that you missed your mom, when you finally get to see her, you're told that you're going to be giving up. I'm going to take you to CPS, and then that way she'll be in foster care. They have more power to abuse. I don't have access to my child, and they're enforcing it. That was terrifying for me and my child. So now for her safety, she has to pretend like this doesn't bother her like a multitude of other people, including the church that I went to decades. So for her and keep a safe environment, she has to put on a safe face So does my sister and a multitude of other people. Just close your eyes, pretend that it's not happening.
Press 1 to learn how
In
to
fact,
submit
while
it
the
online.
viewers just
After the instructions are
I mean,
provided, your
people
call
are coming
will be
back,
disconnected.
so I guess it's entertainment. My second call. Things haven't changed. She was 8. She's about to be 13. A large majority of my life, I had a problem. I thought, that you can rationalize with people. If people just had the right point of view, they would understand. No, no, that was completely delusional. Including at this point, I'm coming to a realization that things have changed, and a multitude of people. If it's not them, it doesn't bother them. Better you than me. And I'm not saying everyone believes that way, but if you are a church, and I've given a multitude of churches this YouTube channel, if you're depriving me of love and support, you're a conspirator. You are a conspirator if you are depriving me for the resources you provide other people. If you will not validate my experience as a living nightmare it is, you disregard and you pretend like nothing is going on so the government can be more comfortable in their criminal activity. You have become a conspirator. You are a part of this criminal activity. And you know what? All of them have done it. So what am I hoping? I guess I'm hoping one day that, maybe enough evidence is compiled and then I have rights. I'm hoping that year after year, parties are not enticed to mistreat, disregard, and ignore me in my crisis. I don't know it's been going on years, so I don't know. Even if a party did want to help, I don't get my calls. I pay a phone bill and can't get my calls. And then when I go and then I make a escalate, they threaten the police to enforce the criminal activity. You will not get your calls. You are going to be on this counterfeit network. You will talk to the scammers. We are not going to jail for you. We are going to enforce that we continue to break into your phone. You are out of your mind if we think that we're not going to let go of control of your phone. Oh no, girlfriend. Your mouth is way too big. We will enforce for the life that we can have power and control over this situation. Your phone will stay hacked, and we will enforce it with everything that we have power in being in. It's probably not healthy to vent on the YouTube channel. I guess I should just cut off the recording and vent to myself. Now I'm on hold for the scammers. This is how long I've been on. For them to scheme to deprive me of service. It depends on how ornery the scammers are. They'll allow me to be on hold and then play games. It's punishment. If I call back and think I'm going to talk my way into getting treated like a normal human being, I will be on hold to pay for it, and then they'll scheme still to deprive me of the services they have been depriving me of for years. If you can remember when you were little, and if some people had grandparents or parents that would like to where they tried to run the child out, see if you can run back to that tree. Run to that tree. Run back. Oh, you did a good job. See if you can run over there. What they were trying to do was they would try to run the child out, wear them out, so they'll be sleepy. If you've ever heard of parties doing that in the past, that's what I grew up with, that, sometimes they'd have them play and tire them out. This is what the government is allowed to do emotionally. Games to wear the individual down. This is emotional, psychological abuse. That's why parties call to start arguments. That's why they engage and text and do these things and then don't respond. It's psychological torture. This is a deliberate part of the harassment because they want a person to be emotionally broken down. They're easier to control. That's what's going on with my kids. That's what's going on with my daughter. She had to be taught a lesson because she stated, she was starting to say, I miss you. I want to see you. She was saying that now she's controlled to where she won't. It can cost her environment. Who would want to be in foster care? The government needs to make sure she's trained up in the right way, that she won't have anything to do with me, torture her and terrify her like my other kids. So she won't talk the way that she was talking. I miss you. I love you. No, it's not right. So right in front of my daughter's house, the gang stalker that hit me, he called me the B word and then lied and said I was fleeing the scene. Then the person from the insurance company, she stated that he got caught in lies and he said that he saw me all the way up the street. We both asked when he said that he saw me, I was turning around. But they hide and do these schemes. They're very careful in making sure you don't see them. I don't know how they do it. So I was turning around making a U. And when he came up and he said that he saw me in the street, but yet he came anyway. So he got caught in lies. So I gave the insurance company my new address multiple times. Some kind of way, this is a deliberate scheme by a multitude of people. They don't want me getting vital mail. So some kind of way, they still had the wrong address, and I didn't even know what was going on with this situation. But they went ahead and paid the claim. Had we had contact, this man, gang stalker, would have got caught in his criminal activity that was intentional because he was already making mistakes. But they pretend like they couldn't get a hold of me. They didn't have the right address. They had my phone number. They didn't call and ask me anything. The adjuster called me initially. It was more like my insurance company was covering for it. You tell me how all these people all over the planet can, it feels like to me, can consistently keep covering up for these crimes. Can you please tell me what's going on? I've been asking for years. So the gang stalker wanted to make a point by hitting me right in front of me. And you know what? My son came out and other parties came out. They looked and went back in. Can you imagine how that felt? A car accident and a child you birthed looked and went back in the house and did not even come to see if you were okay. Mom, are you okay? He looked and went back in. I had to witness this right in front of my child's house where she was staying.
Thank you for calling the FBI. Can I get your first and last name?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question. Is this a complaint line?
You reached the National Threat Operations Center. We are an intake facility for any complaints or crimes that you want to report.
Okay, because every time I do a complaint, they hang up and then interrupt the complaint. Isn't that a felony? Wouldn't that be like tampering with evidence?
No. What is your first and last name?
Okay, so I just want to make sure if they deprive me of the right to do a complaint on the complaint line, that's not a crime, tampering with evidence?
I don't believe that's tampering with evidence.
Oh, because if they don't want me to do the complaint and report the crime, what else would it be?
Ma'am, you're not providing any evidence, so there wouldn't be anything to tamper with.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let me make sure. Okay, so if I was doing a tip and they hung up to prevent the tip, would that be tampering with evidence?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so.
Okay, so if they tell me don't call and report
this is a line where you would need to provide a complaint. So if you would like to provide one, I can document it. Otherwise, I will terminate the call.
Okay, so if I was trying to do a tip and they deprive me of the right to do a tip, is that tampering with evidence?
Okay, ma'am, if you'd like to take up some, if you have these questions, maybe you should reach out to an attorney. I am not in any place to provide you with any legal advice.
Oh, this is the FBI, and I'm trying to do a tip, and then they have in the system that if I make a call to the FBI.
If you want to provide a tip, ma'am, I can go ahead and get that information documented for you.
Okay, but ma'am, I want to make sure that the people that are tampering with evidence get the consequences.
Okay, do you have a report that you would like to make?
I do, but I don't. If I'm deprived of the right to make the report, then what do I do, ma'am? Because this operators act committed crimes. Are you covering for it?
Okay, well, if you don't want to provide a report, then I will go ahead and terminate the call.
Ma'am, I do want to report. I just don't want to be controlled.
Okay, well,
I want to have the right to report crimes without being mistreated, ma'am.
What is your first and last name?
Okay, so let me just make sure I understand. You're going to allow me to do a tip, but all the people that were tampering with evidence, we can't get consequences for. That told me that I could not call the FBI.
Okay, if you would like to seek any kind of legal action, you need to consult with an attorney.
Okay, I'll give you my information. They have in the system, don't talk to me and tamper with evidence when I call like they do at the police department.
Okay, ma'am.
That's not weird to you?
Terminate the call for lack of cooperation.
Ma'am, I was on hold a long time. Hello? Or you're covering for the crime? She hung up. So it just drains my energy. I'm talking to scammers. There's no need for me to keep on calling back to people that are pretending to be the FBI and all these different locations, domestic violence organizations all over the United States, pretending to be the National Domestic Violence Hotline, all these different people. How many more years am I going to waste time with this chaos? Who was I talking to that blatantly lied and told me I didn't get child support payments? Then, after they got caught in lies, they surfaced. And CPS and a multitude of other people enforces the criminal activity. I all I can do is just report.